So anyway, let's continue on to the next change. The next change was a little map change. They changed respawn points associated with different capture points on Passage of Augustus. So what do you guys think about those changes?
I mean, Passage of Augustus is quite a different map compared to the other ones and the way it's played. And I think we especially saw that in the show match. You know, if you want a quick game, then Passage of Augustus is the one, because I feel like the old respawn points did leave it way too sort of closed. I felt like on a lot of other maps, the respawn points, they didn't give you as much of like an advantage as on Passage of Augustus, because, for example, the respawn points you can, or you could shoot from like your respawn point into the enemy base over the middle section, and I feel like something like that probably isn't a good image for the game, being as that's the only map and the only situation where something like that is possible. It doesn't sort of give that continuity. It almost feels like a bug in that sort of sense. It's the only time you can do that.
Anyone else?
I think just some general map tweaks on reinforcement points, or changing how contesting points might do some good for a lot of maps. But I think we'd be here forever if I went into specifics on each map and things like that.
Yeah, we'll have an opportunity to talk about that in more detail later. Also, I talked about it a little bit earlier as well when we were talking about longer respawns, right? How the changes to where the actual respawn points are located is also a balancing factor in the overall feeling of the respawn mechanic altogether. So yeah, I hope that we will see some further tweaks, especially as I have observed on certain maps, like for example on Capitoline Hill, the healing zones are quite far away from strategic points. So for example, if you capture C, no one on flanks can really access that C healing point that it provides very quickly, and it's mostly a defensive healing point where you want to defend against one of the pushes from one of the flanks, rather than helping you actually attack further. So that actually slows down the battles on Capitoline Hill quite significantly compared to other maps, like maybe Alpis Graia, where the C point or the healing point that C provides is actually much more aggressive. Also, if you capture one of the points on the flank from the enemy team, it also gives you quite a nice respawn point, especially if that's on the hill side. So that map tends to be more aggressive and more dynamic, thanks to that more forward placement of those healing zones. So yeah, I would like to see some tweaks in that area to see how the games and their dynamics will change based on where the healing zones are placed. And possibly, I have already tested that in-house, and we are just seeing the final result, what they have deemed to be the optimal healing zone spot. But we'll see about that. So I think that's everything that we wanted to say on the map changes. I'll take that as a yes.